tale as old as time, no reason and no rhyme. Belle and the dragon. Eh?
When the truth is revealed, what do you want to bet? No one will pay any attention to a single one of your songs.
I want to hear Belle sing!
Yeah, sing!
Yeah, sing!
Suzu. Sing.
Yes, today we have Belle. Now, Belle is an anime film that it is honestly, it blindsided me. Like, I didn't know this movie was in pre-production, nothing. Like, the first trailer I saw for this was opening night for Spider-Man No Way Home, and it was like showing all these IMAX trailers, and Belle was one of the trailers it showed. I mean, the trailer looked interesting. It showed that the movie had two animation styles, one in the real world of the characters and one in the like virtually animated world. And I mean, one I liked, one I didn't, but it all looked crisp, it looked nice. It's just a new anime film. I've been hearing some, from my roommate mostly, I've been hearing some whisperings of like how good it was and how well it was doing financially in Japan. So out of nowhere, it's like boom, releases in a little over 1,000 American theaters, and mainstream enough where I had several options for theaters nearby. But it's such a weird call, right? Because there's films that I've seen in the past more trailers for and seen more press for that had a more limited release than this. But anyway, here we are. Belle, I only saw the trailer for it 2 or 3 times before I saw the movie. I don't think anybody that I would have mentioned this to would have even heard of this one. Again, as always, apologies. I've already been roasted once. Directed by Mamoru Hosoda. This guy right here. Done other films. He does have a filmography. It's not his first rodeo. I don't want to get too much into the cast in this one, not because it's a large cast, but I mean, I saw subbed and not dubbed, so it was all the original Japanese voice cast and not the American dub, though I've heard the American dub is still like good, like really good. But out of all the cast involved in this, I want to give a shout out to the main lead character, and who's also the main singer in the original Japanese version, Kaho Nakamura? Kaho Nakamura. Out of the park. Brilliant. I gotta say, credit where credit's due. And I was told by my roommate as well, who saw he went to go see it both dubbed and then subbed, so we could have like a compare contrast to work with. And he said that in both versions, like, it's cool that for the lead in this one, they hired an actual like singer-songwriter, so not only can she act well, but she also like wrote the music in these big songs. Because the whole thing is, it's like a girl after experiencing tragedy in life, quiet and withdrawn from society and life, but now has found a new means of escape and expressionism in this new virtual online reality world. And in doing so, she also is able to like sing again. I guess she sang before, and now in this virtual world, she's become one of these like huge singer pop sensations and does these grand musical grandiose numbers and has a wonderful voice. And all these songs like were written for the movie and performed by an actual singer-songwriter. So that's really cool. I like that they did that. I like how one of the notes I put for this was, it's good. One might even say really good. It's honestly kind of, it's simple. Like, for me, the film is a bit too simple. Like, I shouldn't even say that. It's just a lot of like what you see on the surface is what you get. There's actually a pretty decent twist mixed into the narrative. I'm not going to really reveal the specifics of how it is, but there's a decent twist which kind of gives way to some darker themes. It never gets too dark, but it kind of gets a little bit dark. And it's some like themes that do affect people in real life. There's a bunch of different messages that are all delivered through this film and all that. What I like is it's the dangers of getting lost in the virtual world of, like, you know, you lose your sense of self. Like, there's people that actually do, you know, whether it's the Facebook metaverse, whether it's, you know, World of Warcraft, League of Legends, video games in general, or just like going to Farmville on Facebook back in the day. Like, you can really easily get lost in the online world when you try to reinvent. They even say it. It's like you go to this place to reinvent yourself, to start anew. But in doing so, you have the dangers of like not facing your actual, you know, day-to-day life, real world, like real shit that you gotta take care of, you know, and all that. I try to keep a healthy balance between what I do in the actual real physical world, socializing, work, fitness, food, pleasure, traveling, but also I make no mistake, I fucking love film and I fucking love video games. So I make sure to make time for that shit because I like it a lot. So it's finding that balance. Are there some things that I get more emotionally connected to in these fictional worlds? 100% yes. Do I need to process and recognize that? Yes. I'm not just gonna escape in the online world forever and be like, yeah, I don't gotta face my problems anymore. So it's a good message there. Themes of trauma and grief, abuse, stuff like that. It's a lot to get into, but they're all things that I'm glad they brought up, especially for this PG movie that arguably you could say it's for kids, but I use quotes around this as an adult. Like, I also got satisfaction from it and enjoyed, the movie itself. Like I mentioned earlier, I mean, the animation's good. I'm not a fan of that, 3D animated, everything looks kind of like plastic. I don't know how else you'd call it. I think one of the Berserk movies did it too, but I do love the classic. I love classic hand-drawn, but I don't mind 3D animations and all that. I love a variety of animation styles, but the one that they use when they're in the real world, that's all well and good for me. The one they use when they're in the virtual world, personally, there were some scenes that did look really nice, I'm not gonna lie, but overall, not a huge fan of the art style. It's not just a personal preference. Good performances, good songs, songs that it's not like Encanto where there's a couple songs I'm playing over and over again, like We Don't Talk About Bruno. Or there's some songs where if I were to watch the movie again, I would definitely enjoy hearing those songs again, but it's nothing that I've gone out of my way to search for on Spotify and try to play up and queue up at some point. But the point stands. Again, it's good they hired an actual singer-songwriter for this because it shows. And things work out a little bit too conveniently, especially in the third act. There's some things that happen where I'm like, isn't that an assault charge right there that we're just completely dropping? Or how can you do this without the repercussions of you doing this? And I get it. You're not supposed to look too deep into it. It's the kind of thing where you gotta it's an argument that has had in film a lot where it's I would say something like, oh, how could this person do this? And somebody else might hit me over the head and say, shut up and just fucking enjoy it. And all right, dude, ouch, first of all, but you got a point. Call it nitpicking if you want. I'm just saying, if I see gaps in logic, if I see narrative that's not airtight, I'm gonna say something about it. I did for Halloween Kills. I always bring that one up. I did for Scream. I'll do it for Belle. I'll do it for Belle if I think the narrative doesn't necessarily add up 100%. Even though there's some moments of mild peril for our characters, I never felt a true sense of stakes. I never felt like things were going to go terribly, terribly wrong, even when the narrative kind of leaned towards that whole second to third act, oh, things are going okay, and now they're crashing and burning. How are we going to come back from that? It's just films being formulaic, and some films are able to kind of break out of that mold. And for the sake of this film, the basic structure of the plot works for that narrative, that eventual narrative arc. And we've seen it before. Hell, Roger Ebert called this another Beauty and the Beast. Understandably so, because, minus the romance angle, most of the second act is legit just Beauty and the Beast. There's a whole scene with the dance and all that where I'm like, yeah, this is tale as old as time. It's happening right now. The unfortunate part about all this is that, look, my review is going to reflect both the good and the bad here, as I think it should. In terms of a film, as just a film, as an animated film, I think it succeeds in what it set out to do. It does it very well. I think even though a lot of what it does is kind of surface level in the shallows, and I would have loved to see more character development, more character development than I already got, more world building into this whole VI world and all this. I get it. It's not the point. The point isn't just the virtual world, but everything that happened was very surface level, and that kind of bugs me because I love good world building. But it still looked great. It sounded great. The acting was great. Direction was, I have no complaints. It was still a really good film. And I think the critics out there kind of have it right. I mean, it's really good. It's nothing, I don't think it's anything new original, and I don't think it's anything that's too incredibly exciting or thought-provoking or invigorating. So for my personal level of enjoyment, that's going to suffer for the rating for me because and again, I got bitched at about this, but it's like a drive my car situation, right? Can I recognize the fact that this film is great, and that if with the proper subtext and context and the proper perspective, it's a fantastic film, borderline masterpiece. I'm sure that I could, but again, I'm going based off of personal enjoyment, and I'm sorry that makes anybody upset, but again, that's the point of our reviews, right? So, for all those reasons, I would say that Belle, while it is really good, I'll give it credit for that, but I can't call it perfect because I just didn't love it myself. But I mean, I'll give it, I'll be fair. I mean, this film is a solid 4 out of 5. It's a solid 4 out of 5 film. Even though I don't have any burning desire to see it again, I would watch it again. I didn't love it. I liked it. It wasn't very memorable for me. There wasn't a whole lot of oh my god, this character, this part, or it's sticking with me. I do something I go watch Spirited Away, Castle in the Sky, Howl's Moving Castle, My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service. I'll even go watch, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, or I'll see One Piece or Naruto or any of those. And that's memorable and that's good and engaging. Avatar, look at that. The list goes on. All those are incredibly visually striking, poignant, great, well written, well done, and memorable, and I think about them a lot. But this film, aside from the review, the notes I made for it, and here we are now, I haven't given this film much thought and don't think I will be giving it too much thought in the future. So, yeah, but I can't deny that it wasn't a great film. It was a great film, I just didn't love it. For that reason, 4 out of 5. That's all I got to say. Honestly, it's been nice. I've been able to take a break from cinema. All the new releases that they were the tail end of last year, and now after Scream, the 355, and this, I mean, it's there's some stuff coming down the pipes, but I get a nice week or two to just kind of easy, just put this one out and then we're good to go. But I'm excited to get back into it once the films start rolling out again, which they very soon will. But in the meantime, thank you all so much as always for watching, and yeah, I appreciate the support as always. Stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. Goodbye, travelers.